The initial goal of this work is to search for solutions and improvements in filling the funding gap of the museum. McLean F. emphasizes that museum marketing can bring positive effect on heritage and public profit. Nowadays, most of the museums are under pressures due to the lack of government support. Meanwhile, there are criticizing complaints toward the museums and heritage site for being too commercial. For this instance, the question of how to fill the funding gap through museum shop and avoid the public complaint is raised. Different from normal gift shops, museum shops is a hybrid of shop and museum, and it has more cultural and educational products. Later I did the cases studies, trying to learn from the succeed. After the secondary research, I did the participant observation and follow-up interviews to better understand the context. Beyond my expectation, not just tourists, local people go to museum as their normal activities. According to one staff, all goods are sold quite well, which didn't make sense. She introduced me 4 best-selling products. During the interview, I noticed that the staff did not even mention a word about books, and there's no selling of educational products during my observation. So later I supposed that sales of educational products is not that good and tried to improve the sales of educational products. In this instance, I wondered what if I apply the findings from secondary research to improve the design of educational products? Bringing these 4 ideas, I took the contextual interview.
But it's mainly what the book's about, so I might be drawn to the cover, but then I have to kind of look at what it says on the back and look through the book before I really know. I think that might put me off. I'm kind of more into minimal packaging. The less packaging there is, the better. I think sort of packaging something I like to think of myself. No, I like the way they are. I think it's quite clear. Yeah, they've got quite a good range of where you can see the full cover and it's not just spines. So yeah, I think it's a good display. I think it would attract me, yeah, if there was interesting or colourful stuff
Only
at the
changing the
entrance,
layout
it
and
would draw
interior
me in.
design
Yeah.
worked. However, it's impossible to get the permission to ask for layout changing or other forms of physical touch points in the shop. At that time, I found that secondary research and design ethnography in a short are quite limited. In order to find out the real problem, I have to see shop and museum as a whole. A stakeholder map could be helpful for me to understand the whole organization. Firstly, to better understand the customers, I shadowing one couple in the museum. They were both interested in DIY installations. Secondly, I observed the shop and interviewed the weekend manager to better understand the organization. The weekend manager was friendly to write down the organizational structure for me. Later I completed and analyzed the stakeholder map and tried to find intersections of these solutions. Combining all the findings together, especially after the rejection from the main manager, it's prior for me to find out solutions which can easily to be carried out. Although each group of stakeholders has different needs, ways of selling could benefit them all. In conclusion, I need to find out which factors could affect customers' behavior, not to improve one specific product. Inspired from shadowing, I redesigned a small-sized product with Scottish character into a DIY version. As for sales department complaint for poor branding of the NMS, I made 2 versions to test how logo and branding could affect shopping behavior, one with logo and one without logo. And later I did the A/B testing outside the shop.
I think I like the one that you make yourself, but I like it with the logo.
With the logo, right?
Because it reminds you you've been to the museum and where you got it.
I like that one. Yes. Yeah, and I would go for the same. I would go for the same.
Yeah. You prefer this one, right?
Yeah.
And what about you, lady?
Yes, no, I think I will go for this as well.
Okay.
So I think I like this idea for children to do and play with, and they can make their own.
Yeah.
I like the look of that one better.
So you prefer the look of this one?
Yeah, I
and
like the idea
of that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel with this one here, it gives them the chance to learn how to. It's got different skills that you can use with it. So
Yeah.
I think that's really good. I like that one.
You like this one?
Yeah.
Cool.
I think this one.
This one?
Yeah.
Can I ask why?
It just looks the most sheep-like though. It would probably be more difficult than these ones.
Okay, if later I kind of generate an idea to figure out how to make it easier to look at this one,
Yeah.
Well, you prefer like to make it yourself? Do you want to try for that?
I think it'd be.
It seems that
like,
people
more would
prefer the
sell when you
DIY
didn't have to
version,
make
but
it
the look
yourself.
should be
But I
improved, and
quite
adding
like
logo
things
is
like
mostly
with
work for
work
tourists rather than local people. The limitation of this A/B testing is that it was not set in a natural context. Without permission, I couldn't place these prototypes in the shop. Further DIY versions could be applied in appropriate products. Logo could be more flexible, for example, being placed on the packaging. In my project, secondary research including case studies helped to suggest an orientation. Contextual interview may make people more relaxed at home. Stakeholder map should be done in the first step. Design ethnography hardly worked in a short period of time. During the interview, more skills will be needed to gain people's trust, and that's quite engaging to gain inspiration through shadowing. A/B testing is helpful to speed up my design process.